Okay. Oh. There was a way to see chat. Where was it? Where'd it go? Let's see if I can find it on here then. Okay, looks like I'll have to restart. Okay. Got that fixed at least. So I tried doing this earlier, but starting stream apparently caused my computer to crash, and I had to go and replace the RAM and a bunch of stuff. So, so far all I've opened is a box of the one of the new Commander precons. It's the Golgari one, and the Collector Booster sample pack. Didn't get too much in the sample pack. Standard uncommon, and actually really nice. I believe it's alt art room card. One of the new room mechanics. I actually really like how they do the horizontal art on it. Brings me back to the modal spells or the dual spells that they used to make. This is actually really good. This is going to be a good include for a lot of either mono black or demon centric decks. It's the Unholy Annex and Ritual Chamber. So for 3, it's pretty much draw a card on your end step. If you control a demon, drain 2. Otherwise, lose 2. So it's slightly worse Phyrexian Arena most of the time, and then sometimes it's actually quite good. It's like a Phyrexian Arena and Sheoldred with no real downside. The EDH deck, haven't really looked through it yet. Oh, and it comes with a bunch of Archenemy cards. I'm not sure how popular Archenemy is as a format, but I don't know, including them in the commander sets feels a little forced. I don't know, it could be fun. Definitely be willing to give it a shot. So looking through, got the 2 commander options. Seems like they're still trying to make scarecrows a thing. And they have a 5 CMC 2/5, Death Touch, mill 3 on attack, exile any number of cards on end step with 4 or more card types, and then reanimate one of them. It doesn't need to, it can be any permanent, so you can get enchantments back out, you can get lands back out, you can get any permanent, which could be very handy. Really good for fighting non-exile removal. Just gonna go through the commander deck. Doesn't seem like... Oh, that's... Yeah, it's mostly gonna be reprints. They might have a couple of new cards. Death Reap Ritual is a good staple for Golgari. Putrefy is always useful. It's a slightly more costly destroy, but it gives you the flexibility of hitting artifacts. The staples, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring. So yeah, some reprints, some ramp. Seems like they're really going to be leaning into Delirium in this set, which is going to be cool. Yeah, more ramp. Saki Joe. Seems like almost every green commander precon nowadays has Scourge Ribelder and at least Rampant Growth or Harrow. Like every time now. Grizzly Salvage is good, especially for filling Graveyard. It's despite it being in common, it's very overlooked. Golgari Signets are always useful. And there we go. We're getting into some of the rares now. Board Wipe. I mean, it's cheap. It's 3 CMC, but it's not necessarily going to hit everything. It's very conditional. Okay, so got some demon synergy there. Into the Pit. I saw a good combo with Into the Pit. I can't remember what the other part of the combo is, but being able to play stuff off the top of your library is always useful. Okay. More rooms. Shapeshifters, horrors. This would actually be good in a Necrobloom deck, Formless Genesis. It's got Changeling and create an XX colorless shapeshifter with Changeling and Death Touch, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard, and Retrace. So you can play it from your graveyard by discarding a land card. So yeah, this would be very good in Necrobloom. Oh, that's good. Hit 3 things, and then make an ooze. Pick an enchantment, creature, and an artifact. And then if you've got Delirium, create an XX green ooze, where X is the total mana value of permanents destroyed this way. That could put in some work. Oh, that's good. If you can find a way to cheat that in and then sack it. Culling Ritual is fun. Culling Ritual is good Golgari staple. Good way to fill the graveyard. Mill 3. Beginning of your upkeep, mill 3, and then you can play the Hideaway card once you hit 20. So that's a good way to just fill the graveyard. Noxious Gearhulk. It goes without saying. It's a good card. Oh. Ob Nixilis and Professor Onyx. I don't think that's not the one that I'm thinking of that has the turn 1 kill with Young Necromancer, but still a good card. Professor Onyx, I know, is part of that combo as well. So they almost gave the whole combo. Reanimate, great card. It's a shame I didn't know this was going to be in here. I just picked one of those up. Whip of Erebros, always good. Arachnogenesis. X 1/2 green spiders. X is the number of creatures attacking you, and prevent combat damage that would be dealt this turn by non-spiders. So it's a one-sided fog, and you make a bunch of spiders. That's pretty good. Okay, Mana Dork, but also gets Death Touch eventually. That's pretty useful, but kind of niche. That could be pretty good, but for 7 mana you'd want to cheat it out. Find a way to cheat it out early. Hornet Queen, goes without saying. You know, I never actually was a fan of the Inscription of Abundance. It's fine, but I've never actually like really thought it was useful any time I've drawn it. Okay, some legendary spider synergy there. Delirium creates spiders, and then you can burn people for the number of spiders you control. Scavenging Ooze, that's a great card. It's a good include in almost any green deck, just as graveyard denial. I mean, you don't need a Bajuka Bog most of the time. It's like 1 or 2 things you're trying to get out of somebody's graveyard. So Titania, great card. Renin 7, also a good card. Deadbridge Chant. I don't like Deadbridge Chant. I've never played it and felt like I got the value out of Deadbridge Chant. Let's see if I can actually flip this. Hold on. Transform. Flip vertical. There we go. Yeah, I've never felt like I've played Deadbridge Chant and actually gotten value out of it. Mill 10 when it enters, and then choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Like, okay, even if you have only 10 creatures in your graveyard, when you play this, you mill 10, and at the absolute worst, you've got a 50-50 chance of getting a creature out. Like, it's a great mill 10 for 6. But past that, it's like you've got a 50-50 or better chance of getting a creature. And that's with a lot of setup. Like, the likelihood of having exactly 10 creatures in your graveyard. And then milling 10, and then like being able to actually hit off Deadbridge Chant reliably without also needing to spec into filtering your own graveyard. It's I've never found it worth it. Grim Flare, this is going to be a good one. It's a 2-drop, 2/2 with trample. When it deals combat damage, surveil 3. So that's gonna be really easy to get through on at least, one person turn 3. And then it gets +2/+2 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Also going to be very easy to get that. So I'd expect this, come down turn 2, turn 3, hit somebody, surveil 3, dump a couple things in your graveyard, and then turn 3, maybe turn 4, play something else, get the Delirium. It's now a 4/4 Trampler. Like, that's going to be very good. Grist, Old Stick Fingers. Grist is a great card. Sad Robot. Dryad Arbor. I'm glad that they did a reprint. It's not the nice one, like it's not the nice looking Dryad Arbor, but I am very glad that they finally did a reprint of Dryad Arbor. That's a great card. And then the standard non-basics that you get. Is there anything spicy in here? Grim Backwards is good just for having a sack outlet, like stuck to a land. Okay. Necroblossom Snarl. They're bringing back a new set of the reveal lands. Like, comes into play untapped if you reveal a forest or a swamp, scry land, filter land, another filter land, and then these ones are great. These I think that these are very slept on. The ones that come in tapped unless you control a swamp or forest, or unless you control one of 2 colors. These almost always, by the time they come out, like, you play in turn 1, they come in tapped and you don't need it, or you play your swamp for turn 2, it comes in untapped. It's essentially just a duel with no downsides. However, might great as just like holding up removal. Like, you play it, and then it just kind of sits around until it exiles something that's, worth more than what you've paid for it. Mindstone, that's a great art for Mindstone. That's cool, I like that. Talisman. Whisper Silk Cloak, good card. Ash Barrens. Baron Moor. That's a little bit of a... That's a pretty shitty land. Enters tapped. Can only tap for black, and it has cycling on it. That's almost not worth playing. Ajukabog, Dark Moss Bridge. Still, at least they're giving you an artifact land. Evolving Wilds, Golgari Rot Farm. I mean, slow lands, they're fine. They're good if if you're playing anything that gives you multiple land drops a turn. That can make up for the fact that it's slow. Tainted Wood, same as... Where'd it go? See, like, comparing these two, Tainted Wood and Necroblossom Snarl. They do the same thing. This one is just objectively worse. You can only tap for green or black if you control the swamp. This comes in untapped if you control either. Yep, Jungle Hollow. You gain a life land. Reliquary Tower, Temple of the False God. That's always fun. A little bit of ramp on land. Tranquil Thicket. Tree of Tales. That's cool. It's part of the artifact cycle. I actually didn't have this one, so that's nice. Vault of Whispers, didn't have that one either. I think I only had the Seat of the Synod and the... I can never remember the name of the red one. And then just the standard basics that it comes with. Tokens. So nothing in here that's an exceptionally good reprint. I mean, Whip's always good. Reanimate. Reanimate's a good reprint, but it's cheap. It's like maybe $2. Yeah, out of everything, the best part about this precon is going to be it gives you a lot of good utility cards for a collection, but it isn't necessarily the greatest on its own. Like, this is a good mid-range commander deck to buy that gives you access to a bunch of useful tools for further deck building. The best things you're probably going to get out of this, it's got a good spread of planeswalkers. It does have some reanimation synergy between the creatures and just having a copy of Reanimate. It has a surprisingly good land base, which is rare for commander sets. And then just good one-off cards, like Hornet Queen is never bad, especially if you can cheat it out or ramp into it. Noxious Gear Hulk is never bad, especially if you can cheat it out or ramp into it. It's got a little bit of enchantment synergy. And it's got some of the new cards. So that's always, it's going to be nice. It's got a good, decent, like, baseline for cards. Besides that, yep, getting access to 2 of the new legendary creatures to use as commanders. That's always good. I'd say, honestly, this is a totally fine, like, let's start a collection kind of Golgari deck. Nothing overly spicy. I would have liked to see a little bit more graveyard shenanigans as reprints. Empty the pits. What else? Yeah, Empty the Pits. That's the Delve one. And then the names are just escaping me right now, but it's the one, it brings back it exiles your board, brings back everything from your graveyard, and then puts your board in the graveyard. Grimflayer, that's probably the single most exciting card that I've seen in here. That's gonna put in work. That's actually probably going to go in one of my other decks. I'm actually gonna leave that over there. And then just for the hell of it, just so it's still a 100 card deck, throw that in there. Why not? So yeah, that's a pretty decent commander deck. Nothing overly spicy, nothing overly crazy valuable in the reprints there. Okay, where did I put it? Making sure stuff's still running here. Yep, things are going. Cool. What if I flip this again? There we go. There we go. Now nothing's backwards. Pop the top. Yeah, Golgari's delirium keyworded in this. That'll be cool. And then we can just start going. Why do packs feel loose? Art card. Ooh. Got a full art. Starting off good. Marvin. I forgot that they switched the pack order, so it's your foil, your wild card slot, then your rare, then it goes commons to uncommons, which I'm not a huge fan of. I like the rare being at the back, because then it prompts you to like want to just look at the top three and then ditch the whole pile. Okay, so there's some pretty neat stuff in here. It's an expensive reanimate, or an even more expensive destroy target creature, but it gives you the option to choose. That's always nice. And then yeah, just a bunch of random chaff. I'm really liking that there's going to be a lot of enchantment synergy in here. Lands, full arts can go off to the side. Legendaries. Here, we'll do it this way. Legendaries. Rares are better. Uncommons. Legendaries. Full arts. I'm not sorting anything yet, so it's fine just kind of staying like that. Token. There's the foil. That's that unfortunately expensive choose one. Land. Ooh, Valgavoth's Lair. I was hoping for this. This is the new enchantment land. That's really cool. This immediately is going to be going into a Sithis deck that I've got. Got a ley line. Always fun. Ley line is going to be great in... Actually, I'm not sure if that works. I'm not sure if... Because this is an alternate cost. I'm pretty sure this would work with Morphon. So, like, let's say you've got something CMC 4, a green, and 3. This could allow you to pay Wooburg instead, and then Morphon would reduce the cost by Wooburg, so you'd essentially be able to play all creatures for free. That's going to be very useful. Some theft. That's pretty good costed. 2 blue counter. I mean, it's only creature enchantment. Or bounce 2 to hand. And then fight. I think it's fight. No, it's one-sided fight, so it's your creature deals damage. That's always good. Some chaff. I'm glad to see that they're printing rooms in all 3 rarities, though. It would suck if they were only like prevalent in the rare slot. Token. Another full art. Oh, that'll be cool. When it deals combat damage, unlock a locked door. So this is going to go really good with a lot of room decks. That's cool. It's a one-sided discard. So all opponents discard, and then if you discarded, draw a card. So you're the only one who doesn't. Well, you get a replacement card for that. That's cool. Got the Skull Crab. Yep. Enchantment Synergy. Or when you unlock a room. Road Spinner. Make insects equal to the number of card types. Oh, that's useful. It's a 1-drop. And then for 4 you can sacrifice, return a creature card. That'll be good. Trying to think what that would be good. And you get a lot of value if you're playing Luris as a companion, because you can just keep playing it out of your graveyard. Same with Muldrotha. Gives you access to repeatable reanimation. Okay, Ghost Vacuum. Tap to exile a card from the graveyard. It's great. Put each creature card exiled with Ghost Vacuum onto the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. It's a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types. So this is great for exiling things with abilities, but not to bring them back as something you're going to be fighting with. Ghostly Dancers enters. Return an enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand or unlock a locked door. Then whenever an enchantment enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, create a 3/1 white spirit creature token with flying. There's probably some way to abuse that. Yeah. I mean, it's just a good ability. Just checking on some settings here for a second. No, it's fine. Token. What is that? The foil slot. So you can tap up to 2, and they both deal damage, so it's like a 2-on-1 fight. That's kind of neat. Land. Another ley line, nice. This with the lands. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets a single creature, copy that spell, and you may choose new copies. So it doesn't copy for every creature, but it copies it once. That's useful. Bunch of commons. Removes hexproof. That's nice. Removes hexproof and ward. That's nice. So it's got the new manifest ability, and it auto attaches, so you play it and you just get a 2/2 with flying right off the bat, and then you can re-equip it for 3. Yeah. That's alright. I don't know why. Okay, so if you attack with it, put 3/1/1 counters on up to 1 target land you control. Fine. It becomes a 0/0 elemental. Unless you're going for lands as creatures, it's always dangerous because now they're susceptible to board wipes. And it gains haste until your next turn. You've already attacked. I don't know why it needs. You've already attacked. It's already been out since last turn, or this turn if you just played it. But it's a land. I don't know why you need to give it haste. Doesn't get any other abilities. Yeah, I don't know why that's giving lands haste. Ooh. That's good. For 2, choose 1, destroy an artifact. Always useful. 1 or 2 target creatures can't block. Also very useful. And change target of target spell or ability with a single target. So that's going to be incredibly useful. For 1 card, you get artifact removal, combat tricks, and the ability to Imp's Mischief something without having to pay life. I hate using the little corner pull tab on this. Full art card. Got just a common for the foil. That's weird. Enters tapped unless a player has 13 or less life. So it's just 99% of the time it's going to come in tapped, like when you need it. Yeah, that's not a very good. It's not a very good mechanic. That'll be fun. Trample haste 2/2 for 2. Already great, just off the bat. You can cast it from your graveyard if a non-zombie creature died this turn. Very easy, especially in Rakdos. If you do, it enters with 1/1 counter on it. So, very, very easily you can get a 3/3 trample haste for 2. That just keeps coming back. That's a fantastic card. There's one of the Enduring cards. Lifelink, Enduring Innocence, Lifelink, whenever one or more creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn, so it rewards you for playing small things. Playing or creating tokens, because that would work for tokens. And then, of course, if it dies, return it as an enchantment. That'll be fun. That'll be great for token decks. Also has some minor enchantment synergy. Yep. Another 1-drop, sacrifice it to blow something up. Ooh, it's got ramp on it. So it's slightly more expensive for the ability, but you get to choose between an artifact and enchantment, or drawing and then ramping. So that's useful. When it enters, sacrifice a creature other than enchanted creature. When an enchanted creature is dealt damage, destroy it. So yeah, it's just, destroy target creature with extra steps. Oh, except, okay, you get 2 things. You enchant a creature, they sacrifice something, and if you can hit it for at least 1, it just dies. And then put a stun counter on opponent's creature. That's fine. Commons. Art card. Yeah, Twitching Doll. That's the common room for blue. Yeah. Surveil 2. I mean, that's okay, no, it's a 1-drop for the first door. That's fine then. Unstoppable Slasher. When it deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up. This is going to be a fun one to play with. Whenever it's lose half of their life rounded up, there are so many ways to abuse that and just turn it into an instant kill. And then when it dies, it just comes back with 2 stun counters. Hey, more gremlin synergy. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to see it. More gremlin stuff. Whenever you attack, create a 1/1 red gremlin. Whenever an enchantment you control enters a room, and whenever you fully unlock a room, create a red gremlin. Blue room in the uncommon slot. Yeah, bounce a creature, or whenever 1 or more creatures, so max 1 additional draw per combat. I'm going to move these around slightly. Oh, the punch-out token cards. Yeah, okay. Random common. Land. Central elevator and promising stairs. When you unlock this door, search your library for a room card that doesn't have the same name as a room you control. Fair enough. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. So it's to hand, not to battlefield. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1, and you win if there are 8 or more different names among unlocked doors of rooms you control. So that's gonna, like the uncommon that we saw earlier, that's gonna be great for like a blue-centric room opening deck. Ah, Twitching Doll. Twitching Doll's fun. Twitching Doll's gonna see a lot of play. Add 1 mana of any color, put a nest counter on it, then you can tap to sacrifice it, create a 2/2 green spider for each, with reach for each counter on it. So, I mean, it's a mana dork that eventually turns into spiders. You can chump with it, and then you can sacrifice and create like, what, 4, 5, 6, however many spiders. Green room. That gives lands. Add 1 mana of any color. It's fair. Yeah, and then the other side is mill 4 and then return 2 permanents to hand. So useful. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment. Put a 1/1 counter on Sawblade Skin Ripper. At the beginning of your end step, if you sacrifice 1 or more permanents this turn, it deals that much damage to any target. Okay, so the important part about this is tap 2 to sacrifice a creature or enchantment, but it only deals damage equal to the number of sacrificed permanents, not its power or toughness. Can't be blocked by glimmers, presumably. Oh, that's the new token type. Beginning of your second main. If it's tapped, you may search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. That's going to be useful. That's going to be super useful. I'm actually putting that to the side. That's amazingly useful. Commons. Great art on the Murder reprint. spirit token. Swamp. Oh, the new Zimone. This is the one that cares about the prime numbers. Yeah, you make fractals based on prime numbers. It's math. Simic caring about math? Who knew? Okay. That's going to be good for the new Manifest Dread mechanic. So add 1 mana of any color or 2. Spend it only to turn permanents face up. Attack in the box is going to be a great... it's not quite Death Touch kind of creature. It attacks, and you can choose to give it +4/+0 until end of turn, but you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So it's like, don't block me. Whenever an enchantment you control enter, and whenever you fully unlock a room, surveil 1. So yeah, more synergy with room unlocking. And then bounce and manifest. So yeah, blue doing blue shenanigans. This goes over here. And actually, I'm going to put this one also up here. Yeah, nothing else. Garbage. Always love it when they give you garbage in your pack. Lionheart Glimmer. Ward 2, and whenever you attack, creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. It's pretty good. That's decent. Yeah, 13 or less life land. That's crap. Hey, another leyline. If you would gain life, you gain that much +1 instead. Okay. As long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting total, creatures you control get +2/+2. That'll be very useful for a lot of white and white-green decks. Yeah. That's actually going up here with that one. Yep, another attack in the box. Cathartic Parting. So you can bury an artifact enchantment. And then you get to bring 4 things from your graveyard back to your library. That's alright. Okay, so for 7, additional cast, sacrifice a creature. Fine. It's a 6/5 flying trample. That's pretty good. When it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token enchantment, then a non-token creature. So if you're playing Commander, you're hitting 2, 4, maximum 6 things at the cost of sacrificing and paying 7. It's not horrible. This is the obviously legally distinct creepy doll. Arabella Abandoned Doll. Whenever Arabella attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So rewards playing low to the ground things. That's fine. Yep, bunch of commons. That's cool. I like that. Grievous Wounds. First rare foil that we've gotten. Enchanted player can't gain life. Whenever they're dealt damage, they lose half their life rounded up. So like I was saying with this guy, no, this wouldn't turn into an instant kill, but they'd lose half rounded up, then they'd lose another half rounded up. So turn 5 or sooner, but realistically turn 5, somebody's losing 3/4 of their life. That's pretty good. And another full art. Got the hover ship. Comes into play. Exile something toughness 5 or less. When it leaves, they manifest red, so they get at most a 2/2 back. That's pretty good. That's useful. Fear of Burning Alive. This is that the fear of cycle that they put in. When it enters, deals 4 damage to each opponent. When a source you control deals non-combat to an opponent, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, deals that amount of damage. Amount of damage to target creature that player controls. Okay, that's fine. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same opponent. That player chooses one of those creatures. Trial of Agony deals 5 damage to that creature, and the other can't block. That's great for 1. And then the cat again. Defiled Crypt and Cadaver Lab. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black horror. Only once each turn. And when you unlock this door, return target creature card from your graveyard to hand. So yeah, those are both fine. Nice. Common. 13 lifeland. Kona Rescue Beastie. This, if I remember correctly, I saw a spoiler for this one and it looked really good. At the beginning of your second main, if it's tapped, you might put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's an amazing card. Repeatably being able to cheat anything, any permanent into play is great. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. Yeah, that's fine. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, gets +2/+0 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Fine. When it enters, you may sacrifice another enchantment or creature. If you do, draw 2. Also fine. If you sacrifice it, you manifest red. Gives you an out. Yep. There's Valgavoth. Another Fear of Exposure. As an additional cost, tap 2 untapped creatures and or lands you control. 5/4 trample for 3. Realistically, it's 5. Yeah, that's fine. Nice full art island. Another ley line. It's the red one again. The weird mana rock. Can only put it in Wooburg decks, and it makes you pay life for blue, green, or red. It's like, it's fine. I don't see this getting much play. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, 1/1 counter on target creature. When it enters, exile target non-land permanent until it leaves. Enchanting creature gets +1/+0 and has lifelink and ward 2. Okay. I mean, that's actually very useful for 2 CMC. Whatever you put it on, like if whatever you put it on gets destroyed, they get their thing that you exile back. But still, 2-drop that gives something +1/+0, lifelink, and ward 2, that's very good. Yeah, here's the modal instant. It's an overpriced murder. And then commons. So far got good hits on the ley lines, but not very much in terms of the enduring cards or legendaries. I'm hoping to get the green and black enduring cards. Fear of Imposters. When it enters, counter target spell and its controller manifest red. Okay. So it's counter on a creature. It's fine. 13 life land. Marina Vendrill's Grimoire. When it enters, if you cast it, draw 5. That's pretty good. No maximum hand size and don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Whenever you gain life, draw that many cards. Whenever you lose life, discard that many cards. If you have no cards in hand, you lose the game. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun card for a lot of blue decks. One drop Patchwork Beastie. Can't attack or block unless there are 4 more card types in your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill a card. When Conductive Machete enters, manifest red, then attach to that creature. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and has equipped 4. So it's a 4-drop and you get a 4/3 out of it. That's alright. Another card that cares about playing small things. When it enters, draw a card, then discard a card unless you control a creature with power 2 or less. And then the commons. Land. Funeral Room Awakening Hall. Oh, hey, that one's mythic. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. It's a Blood Artist on an enchantment. When you unlock the store, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, that's great. Yep. Play it turn 3 as a Blood Artist. Play it turn 8 or, sooner with ramp to reanimate everything. That's great. That's a great card. Irreverent Gremlin. Creature with power 2 less enters. Discard a card. If you do, you may draw a card. Once each turn. It's alright. Sacrifice keys to the house. Search your library for a basic land card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then you get to unlock Oh, lock or unlock a door of target room. So you can relock rooms to get their abilities again. That's useful. I would like to have seen this as search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. I would have liked, yeah, that would have been a lot more useful if it was tap 2 and tap, instead of just tapping 1 and getting to fetch a land. Savior of the Small at the beginning of your second main. If it's tapped, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. When Ghostly Key Bearer deals combat damage to a player, unlock a locked door. That's that blue one that I was talking about. That's going to be great with door and room synergy decks. Jump scare's fun. I thought that art was great. 13 life land. Okay. That's a good board wipe. 3 drop, choose 1, destroy all tapped or all untapped creatures. Violent Urge, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike. Or if there are 4 more card types, they gain double strike instead. It's good, but I don't see it being a red aggro deck staple. That's pretty good. Rite of the Moth. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with finality counter on it. The Fear of. And then commons. Token, common, swamp, Screaming Nemesis, mythic, has haste. It's a 3/3 for 3. Whenever it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. Wow. Okay. So I'm assuming. Yeah, it's not quite an emblem that they get, but it's like they gain an ability that says they can't gain life. That'll be fun. That's the one where you get to shuffle 4 things from your graveyard into your library. Oh, Vengeful Possession. It's theft, standard theft. And also, you may discard a card if you do draw a card. Baseball bat. When it enters, attach it to a creature, gets +1/+1. And whenever that creature attacks, tap up to 1 target creature. That's fine. Ooh. Ethereal Armor. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. That's very good. Blazemire Verge. Add black or add red. Activate only if you control a swamp or a mountain. It's fine. It's a great card. It's a great land. Expropriate. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time, take an extra turn. For each money, choose a permanent owned by the voter and gain control of it. It's a great reprint. Let's play a game. Choose one if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Choose 1 or more instead. Creatures your opponent control get -1/-1. Each opponent discards 2 cards, and each opponent loses 3 and you gain 3. Each opponent discards 2 cards. That's probably the best ability on there. Orphans of the Wheat. Whenever Orphans attacks, tap any number of untapped creatures you control, and it gets +1/+1 for each creature tapped this way. It's pretty good. Is this a legendary? It was not. Wildfire Wicker Folk gets +1/+1, has trample as long as there are 4 more card types. It's a 3/2 haste for 2. Gruul does go fast. And the commons. Don't think there's been anything phenomenal yet. There's a bunch of stuff that I wanted to get, but I don't think there's been anything absolutely phenomenal yet. Common. Full Art Plains. Oh, the rooms come in 2 color. Roaring Furnace, Steaming Sauna. When you lock this door, deals damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to target creature an opponent controls. And you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Very useful. Very good card. And it's a full art. Betrayer's Bargain. Sacrifice a creature or enchantment or pay 2 as an additional cost. Deals 5 damage to target creature. If it would die this turn, exile instead. Nice. At the beginning of your second main, if Veteran Survivor is tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. And once it hits 3 exiled cards, it gets +3/+3, and that's hexproof. It's pretty good. Sawblade again. Nowhere to run. We've seen that. Commons. Full art. Is that this one? No, it's not. Gremlin Tamer, we've seen that. Land. Meathook Massacre 2. When it enters, each player sacrifices X creatures. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 3. If you do, return that card under your control with a finality counter on it. I don't like how prevalent finality counters are getting. It stops graveyard shenanigans. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, they may pay 3. If they don't, return that card under your control with a finality counter on it. So this will get very out of control very quickly. Also, it's when it enters, so you get to benefit from all of the sacrificed creatures. Defiant Survivor. Beginning of your second main. If it's tapped, manifest red. Okay. Straightforward. Oblivious Bookworm. Beginning of your end step, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless a permanent entered the battlefield face down under your control this turn, or you turn a permanent face up this turn. Great. Get an extra draw as long as you're manifesting dread. Drag to the Roots. Spell costs 2 less to cast as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Destroy target non-land permanent. Okay, so it's an Assassin's Trophy, but with additional steps. patched plaything. Double strike 4/3 for 3 with double strike. Enters with 2 -1/-1 counters if you cast it from your hand. Okay. So it's normally a 2/1. It's only very scary if you can cheat it in somehow. That's fair. I mean, white has a good number of ways of cheating things in, especially 3 CMC, so that's not that difficult to do. 13 or less life land. Omnivorous Flytrap, the alt art. Whenever it enters or attacks, Delirium. Distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures. And then if there's 6 or more card types, double the number of 1/1 counters on those creatures. That's pretty good. Seeing the Survivor, Seeing the Survivor. Unwilling Vessel. Enchantment enters or unlocking a room, put a possession counter on it. When it dies, create an XX blue spirit with flying, where X is the number of counters on it. Okay. Nothing crazy there. Create 3 1/1 red gremlin creature tokens. Gremlins you control gain menace, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. So, gremlin tribal is going to be a thing, I guess. Commons. Gremlin token. Yep. Destroy target tapped creature. It's that thing that white usually does where it's like it costs less if it meets a requirement. 13 or less life. Reluctant Role Model. At the beginning of your second main, if it's tapped, put a flying, lifelink, or 1/1 counter on it. When it or another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target creature. Great. Counter shuffling is always fun. 2 creatures deal damage to 1 creature. Fear of being hunted. It must be blocked if able. Okay. Growing Dread. Flash enters Manifest Dread. Whenever you turn permanent face up, put a 1/1 counter on it. Okay. The cat again. Comments. Fear of Lost Teeth. That's funny. Really like the art on that too. When it dies, deals 1 damage to any target and you gain 1 life. Yeah, straightforward. Swamp. Dazzling Theater and Prop Room. Creatures you cast have Convoke. Oh, nice. Gives everything Convoke. And untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. That's dirty. Gremlin again. Painter Studio, Defaced Gallery. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them until the end of your next turn. Whenever you attacking creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Straightforward. Inquisitive Glimmer. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Unlocks costs you pay cost 1 less. Okay. That's good. a shame it's an Esper, because that would be very useful. Osseous Stick Twister. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 4 or more card types, each opponent may sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Then it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent who didn't sacrifice a permanent or discard a card this way. Okay. That'll actually be very useful, especially if you can pump it up. Yeah, every turn somebody is either sacrificing something, or each opponent is either sacrificing, discarding, or taking 2+ damage, 2 up damage. That's also lifelink. So you're gaining that much. Dare I say it, is that the first useful Scarecrow? No, I'm joking. There's some of the other Scarecrows are actually alright. Actually, that's not bad. Final Vengeance. Black Common. Additional cost, sacrifice a creature or enchantment to exile target creature. That'll be very useful. I'm thinking like in the standard meta game, that's going to be very useful. Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. Impending 4. When it enters or attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target. Nice. Survivor. Pyroclasm deals 2 damage to each creature. Look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, the rest in your graveyard. You gain 3. Enchant creature, you control enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets -3, -0, and loses all abilities. What's the point then? That's for 6? That's crap. That is absolute dog shit. First of all, the going rate for permanent theft is about 6. Fair. You can find it 4 to 6, depending. If you're going to be stealing something, you want it for a reason. Either it's big, or it has a good ability. This makes it small and lose all abilities. That is absolute crap. There's so much better theft out there. Gremlin token. Clockwork Percussionist. 13 or less lifeland. Rip Spawn Hunter. At the beginning of your second main, if it's tapped, reveal the top X cards, where X is its power. Put any number of creature and or vehicle cards with different powers from among them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of the library. It's not bad. It's definitely not a bad card. Another Twitching Doll. Greenhouse in the Gazebo again. Cynical Loner again. Glimmer Seeker. At the beginning of our second main, if it's tapped, draw a card if you control a Glimmer. If you don't, create a 1/1 white Glimmer enchantment creature token. That's useful. It's card draw in white, something you don't see very often. I like that Terramorphic. That's great art for a Terramorphic Expanse. The Gremlins. Foil. Lifeland. Winter. That's the same. It's this guy. Where'd he go? That's so weird. Why make two versions of the same one in the same set? That's weird. Word 2 at the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2. Okay. And then Delirium, each opponent's maximum hand size is equal to 7 minus the number of those card types. That's going to piss a lot of people off. It's a Scarecrow. Delirium, when it attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may put it on the battlefield. Any land, not even just a basic. If you don't put it on the battlefield, put it in your hand. That's pretty good. A 5/4 for 4. Withering Torment. Destroy target creature or enchantment, you lose 2. I mean, for 3, I would have liked to see it without the lose 2 life, but whatever. Intruding Soul Rager. 2/2 for 2 with Vigilance. Sacrifice a room. It deals 2 damage to each opponent, draw a card. Okay. A little bit of room synergy. Fear of Falling. When it attacks, target creature gets -2, -0, and loses flying until your next turn. That's kind of funny. Moldering Gym and Weight Room. Ramp. And then Manifest Dread and make it big. Not gonna lie, not getting many good hits out of the box. That's a cool treasure. Mountain. Ooh. Nashi, Searcher in the Dark. 2/2 for 2 with Menace. When it deals combat damage to a player, you mill that many cards. You may put any number of legendary and or enchantment cards from among them into your hand. If you put no cards into your hand this way, put a 1/1 counter on it. Okay. That'll be a fun commander. Threats around every corner. When it enters Manifest Dread, whenever you Manifest Dread, search your library for basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. So it's ramp, but it's a little late at 4 CMC. Surgical Suite and Hospital Room. When you unlock this door, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So like I was saying with the double striker, pretty easy for white to get stuff back out. And then whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. Miasma Demon. Discard any number of cards when it enters. When you do, up to that many target creatures each get +2/+2 until end of turn. Token. Centipede. 13 life land. Walk-in Closet and Forgotten Cellar. Walk-in Closet, you may play lands from your graveyard, always useful. When you unlock this door, you may cast spells from your graveyard this turn, and if a card would be put in your graveyard from anywhere else this turn, exile it. Okay. That's not bad. House Cartographer. At the beginning of your second main, if it's tapped, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land. Put it into your hand and the rest in the bottom in a random order. Diversion Specialist. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment. Oh, okay, yeah, we've seen that one. The Room That Makes Horrors. The Double Strike guy. Commons. Okay. Entity Tracker. Whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, draw a card. Full Art Swamp. I like those better than I like those 13 life lands. Silent Hall Creeper. 1/1 for 2. Can't be blocked. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Put 2 1/1 counters on it. Draw a card, or it becomes a copy of another target creature you control. That's useful. That's a good card. Altenac the Thrice Called. 9/9 for 7 with Trample. When it becomes the target of spell or ability an opponent controls, draw a card. Discard it. Return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Any land. I like how they're moving away from it only being basics. Like, you can actually return useful things. The Saw. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice permanent. If you do, draw a card. Fair. Smoky Lounge, Misty Salon. At the beginning of your first main, add 2 red. Spend it only to cast room spells and unlock doors. And then the second side is create an XX blue spirit based on the number of rooms you've unlocked. That's fine. Fear of Abduction. Exile a creature you control as an additional cost. Flying. When it enters, exile target creature an opponent controls. When it leaves, put each card exiled with it into its owner's hand. Okay. Nice. One of the signed ones. When it dies, create a treasure. It's fair. 13 life land. Peer past the veil. Discard your hand, then draw X, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. Okay. That could be useful. Tale of Tameo. Mill 2. If 2 card types that share a card type, if 2 cards that share a card type were milled this way, draw a card and repeat the process. Okay. Exile any number of target instant or sorcery cards and or Tameo Planeswalker cards from your graveyard. Copy them. You may cast any number of the copies. So, not casting for free, but you can cast them. Destroy target creature, its controller manifest dread. Flash. Enchanted creature gains hexproof and 1/1, +1/+1. Fear of Isolation. As an additional cost, return a permanent to your hand. That's fine. When you unlock the store, create a 1/1 white glimmer. When you unlock the store, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Okay, that's nothing special there. Another sign one. Razorkin Needlehead. First strike during your turn. When an opponent draws a card, deals 1 damage to them. That's very useful, especially as a 2/2 for 2. 13 life land. We've seen that one. We've seen that one. We've seen Saw. We've seen Baseball Bat. We've seen the Doll. keys. 13 life land. The Jolly Balloon Man. 1/4 for 3 with haste. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature in addition to its other colors and types, and it has flying and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, activate only as a sorcery. Okay. So you can steal stuff, and it's good at stealing things that have abilities. Yep. Return permanent to your hand. Whenever you manifest dread, put a card you put into your graveyard this way into your hand. Growing Dread, we've seen that. Ooh. Foil for full art. Come back wrong. Destroy target creature. If it's put into a graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. No, I'm probably not going to put that in a deck. Seen those two. Shrewd Storyteller. Beginning of your second main. If it's tapped, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It's fine. Exile, artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. Token. Enchant creature. When it enters, target player sacrifices a creature. Oh yeah, we've seen this one. Balustrade Worm. Can't be countered. Trample, haste. Delirium. Pay 4. Return it to the battlefield with a finality counter. Okay. Scarecrow. Norin. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. You may play that card from exile this turn. It's alright. Shroud Stomper. Death Touch. Whenever enters or attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. You gain 2 and you draw a card. It's not bad. Land. Demonic Council. Look for a demon or look for a card with Delirium. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or manifest red. That's fine. Sacrifice a creature. It gains indestructible. And keeps coming back whenever you play an enchantment. Life. From Asana. The Fear again. Killer's Mask. Shroud Stomper. Windbreaker. Last one. Oh, that's cool. Swamp, another comeback raw. Yep, didn't look like there was anything overly good in the box. That happens. Okay.